In this WrestleTalk news, new details about the all-out brawl that could completely change your opinion on it. Triple H willing to have Punk back in WWE, and Ollie's going to be here reviewing AEW Dynamite, so subscribe and enable notifications to always on for daily wrestling news videos.
Support WrestleTalk!
Just when you thought you had all the answers, Larry changes the questions. Now, for a long while now, the perception from many has been that CM Punk was the party responsible for initiating the physical altercation backstage at All Out. Now, while that is still believed to be the case, a shocking new report from Wrestling Inc.'s Nick Hausman has suggested that Punk getting physical was actually a retaliation to his dog Larry being injured moments prior to the melee. Now, according to Punk's camp, the comments from Punk at the scrum didn't seem like a big deal to his inner circle, with the situation only escalating when the Bucks kicked in the door to Punk's dressing room. It was said in the report that the kicking in of the door accidentally hit Punk's dog Larry in the face, and then when he took Larry to an already scheduled veterinarian appointment 2 days later, the doctor told Punk 2 of the rescue dog's teeth were damaged and needed to be removed. Now, the report on the Elite kicking in the door has been previously discredited, which makes this new twist particularly interesting. Though it is worth noting that Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio said that in the 7 weeks since the incident, no one has actually mentioned to him Punk's dog being injured, and added, the side that was trying to defend him all along never brought that up once, and now all of a sudden that's the story. Hausman's report though also adds that while Punk is not the party responsible for the previously reported legal hold-up in the investigation, he is ready with a defense if he does get legally charged for the incident in any form. Punk is reportedly leaning into Illinois castle doctrine laws, which allow for the use of force in defense of a person in their dwelling, his locker room being his dwelling in this scenario. Now, if this is to be believed, this report completely shifts the narrative in favour of Punk somewhat. Interesting though, it may not be the only perception of Punk that has changed recently. Now, this is a situation that has been changing daily, so make sure to visit WrestleTalk.com for any further updates. Because with CM Punk reportedly on the verge of a contractual buyout with AEW, it has been stated that the stumbling block in those negotiations is over the implementation of a non-compete clause. Don't go anywhere and do your wrestling, boy. Now, given Punk's stature and high price, it is easy to assume that this is indicating that a move back to WWE is possible. However, CM Punk and Triple H, I don't get on, so it was assumed that it was unlikely that Punk would be welcomed back to the company. Now, according to Give Me Sports Good Money Louis Dangore's recent interview with WrestleVotes, this was still perceived to be Triple H's stance on Punk. Louis Dango. Haven't heard that name in years. WrestleVotes said, I was told, pretty straightforward, that Triple H wants nothing to do with CM Punk and even less to do with Phil Brooks. Well, that's what I was told, and that was July. Triple H does know that CM Punk and Phil Brooks are the same person. He does. All right? Okay. However, this has changed recently, with Triple H seemingly more open than before to the idea of a Punk return. He continued, I did ask over the last couple of days, and it has softened a little bit from what I understand. I still think there's animosity. I still think there's a lot of pieces that need to be picked up between the two of them specifically, but Hunter learned from Vince, and Vince made amends with everybody. Now, while Punk's future seems to lie outside of AEW at this point in time, the opposite can be said for the Elite, because last week's Dynamite hinted at a potential development as they were name-dropped on TV for the first time since All Out, and this week has seen things develop drastically with a mysterious Thanos-like vignette airing on Dynamite that teases their erasure from the company and from its history. And while this does point at an imminent TV return very soon, according to Fightful Select, the Bucks and Omega have already made their return to the company backstage for the first time in nearly 2 months. While it was initially reported that the trio were expected backstage imminently, it turns out Imminently was closer than everybody thought. The reports developing quickly from just Don Callis being backstage to then being confirmed that the whole Elite were actually at the Chartway Center in Norfolk, Virginia, in person. Now, despite all of this, it's still currently unclear when the trio are actually going to make their TV return, but we'll have to wait and see. Hot tag to Ollie for some Dynamite action.
It's Thursday. You know what that means. Everyone getting annoyed at me for thinking AEW isn't as good as it used to be. In about 5 minutes. I was ill last week, so I didn't get a chance to address a lot of people critiquing my critique of there being too many championships in AEW. I counted 15 title belts on screen in the 12th of October episode, but some people pointed out that not all of those belts are defended in AEW, like the AAA tag titles or Shida's Joshi belts. So I'll remove those from my list to avoid any claims of being disingenuous and just include AEW and ROH ones. That brings us to the total of 12 championship belts! Which I still think is way too many. It is a universally accepted truth that the more there is of something, the less that something is valued. The episode began on Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta taking on Chris Jericho and Daniel Garcia, a neat pairing of the current ROH champions against the men they beat. Claudio finished the match with one of my all-time favourite spots of his, murdering everyone. In one fluid, 2-minute-long sequence, he took out Jericho, hit a swing on him with Garcia on his back, ran round the ring taking out the rest of the JAS, and then beat Jericho in the ring. A rare instance of Y2J getting pinned. This was so good, Claudio regained all the momentum and then some that had dissipated over the last few months. This seamlessly flowed into a frustrated Danielson promo to Renee Young backstage. This episode of Talking Smack is weird. Where's all the jokes about fisting? Yuta, Danielson and Claudio all argued and vowed to settle their frustrations after the show. It provided the depth to the Blackpool Combat Club that they've been missing. But then we got my first issue with the show. A video package played of the Elite starting AEW, with them getting erased from each shot Infinity War style. It's obviously the start of their return, with AEW choosing Omega and the Bucks over CM Punk. It was intriguing, but also way too inside baseball. I fear the handling of the whole suspension brawl incident, not establishing any reasons in kayfabe and just keeping it all as a nebulous void that wrestling journalists have to fill, will play into the worst of the Elite's insider referencing tendencies. Thankfully, Swerve and Our Glory vs FTR then had match of the night. This was a difficult one to book. AEW found themselves in a corner. With the organically over-acclaimed winning the belts at the same time, FTR should become champions. While there was no perfect solution here, I think they chose the best long-term option. Swerve and Our Glory won thanks to the Gun Club holding cash back and Swerve hitting a low blow on Dax. This lets Swerve and Lee conclude their trilogy with the Acclaimed, giving Bowens and Caster the definitive, clean rubber match victory, while semi-protecting FTR for the next title shot. Also elongating the Acclaim's title run, as it's far too soon for them to lose the belts. Layers of drama in this match, with the Acclaimed and the Guns at ringside, a Chekhov's ass boys, if you will. Yep, that's the best name for that. Worked great for the match, elevating some fantastic near falls. MJF then cut a babyface promo, so babyface, it makes you think he's not a babyface. He said Virginia so many times, even Mick Foley's there going, he's up on the cheap pops there, mate. He told Stokely Hathaway not to interfere in the main event. I'll go into conspiracy theories at the end. Bryan Danielson was back to his furious best against Sammy Guevara in a great match, making Sammy pass out to win. This, combined with the opening tag win, really makes Blackpool Combat Club feel like a force to be reckoned with. Jamie Hayter beat Rio in a well-worked size difference match, but the crowd never fully invested because of the lack of a proper character development and storyline. Tony Storm appeared to challenge Hayter to a title shot afterwards. Eddie Kingston's here. He says he's totally fine. I definitely believe him. And the main event was the randomly announced Moxley vs Penta World title match. The booking appears to be a panic move, either as a ratings ploy or a make-do for the botched title match the previous week. But if you're gonna do a hot-shotted title match, it should always be Penta. Correct answer, Tony. He looked incredible here, with his and Mox's styles working great together. But as soon as Mox won, the evil firm jumped him. Blackpool Combat Club were chained in their locker room, so MJF had to come down and make the save. MJF fired Hathaway, so the firm turned on him, with Ethan Page hitting an awesome Ego's Edge and W. Morrissey putting Max through a table outside. So it's all a ruse, right? MJF's promo earlier felt like he was doing an impression of a babyface. It was especially jarring because of how one-dimensional it felt following last week's psychologically complex promo with Regal. So is this bad storytelling or a heel master plan? Considering MJF's track record putting on the best wrestling storylines for several years now, we should probably give him the benefit of the doubt. Because what is the greatest trick the devil ever pulled? Convincing us he didn't exist. Is Max demented enough to pay the firm to beat him up, suckering us, Mox, and Regal into his lies, to then actually use the diamond ring at the pay-per-view, turn uber heel, and win the belt? If so, I definitely want a how will they coexist few weeks with Mox and MJF tagging until then. That said, even in the good version of this, that's in serious danger of being overbooked. If they do the double cross, it'll be a hard thing to pull off to the extent that this world title storyline and Max's character requires. And if they don't, the firm being the big bad and MJF just turning babyface here feels subpar. What did you think of Dynamite? Let me know in the comments. I thought the first hour of this show was excellent, a great blend of pro wrestling and storyline development, but while I'm intrigued with the AEW World Title feud in its current moment, I'm not loving it. My larger problem with the show was, again, what was missing from it. The Elite promo, like I already mentioned, and also having zero update on the condition of Hangman Page. I think we're all deeply affected by the ending of last week's show. AEW initially handled themselves very well, posting a statement on Twitter, but not addressing it on air here or on Rampage creates another nebulous crowd of anxiety over the promotion. It's deeply frustrating how AEW totally ignores anything that goes wrong on screen or off it. It erodes that idea of transparency, trust, and respect with the fan base that this company was founded on. This week's Dynamite is 76%. It does look like AEW is choosing the Elite, but should they have done more to keep CM Punk? Watch on to find out more. Should AEW fire CM Punk? It is arguably one of the biggest questions the wrestling industry is facing this year, or, for many years. It's the biggest thing in this potential looming AEW WWE war. We're going to devote some time to it.